Sabrina Carpenter's new album cover didn't just break the internet, it lit it on fire. As soon as the first image from Man's Best Friend dropped, social media turned into a battlefield. On one side, fans praised the bold visuals. On the other, critics called it degrading, tone-deaf, and downright disturbing. But was it a misstep or a masterclass in satire? The truth is more complicated than it seems. With the album set to release August 29th, Sabrina isn't just sharing new music, she's making a statement. And that statement has the internet split in two. From feminist backlash to Rolling Stone revelations, what started as a cover photo quickly spiraled into one of the most divisive moments in Sabrina's career. The album isn't even out yet, but the questions it's already raised about empowerment, art, and public perception are louder than the music itself. So what's really going on behind Man's Best Friend? And why is it triggering such an intense response? When Sabrina Carpenter unveiled the cover art for her upcoming album Man's Best Friend, the internet didn't just react, it erupted. The images were jarring. One showed her on all fours in a submissive pose, and the other featured a collar with the album's title. It was a sharp departure from the more polished, ethereal visuals of her short and sweet era, and fans weren't prepared. The caption itself was innocent enough. My new album, Man's Best Friend, is out August 29th, 2025. Can't wait for it to be yours. X, pre-order now. But within seconds of posting, comment sections turned into battlegrounds. People weren't just surprised, they were divided and loud about it. Some called it degrading, others said it was genius. The provocative pose wasn't just an artistic choice, it was a cultural lightning rod. What followed was a firestorm of interpretation. Was Sabrina dragging toxic masculinity by parodying it? Or was she playing into the very stereotypes she claimed to fight against? On one side, critics called it rage bait, a stunt for shock value in an already tense political climate. On the other, supporters claimed it was obvious satire, mocking how men objectify women. The cover quickly sparked thousands of tweets, TikToks, and debates across social platforms. No one could quite agree on what it meant, but one thing was clear. It wasn't just an album announcement. It was a statement that demanded attention, and whether you loved it or hated it, it made sure you couldn't look away. The timing couldn't have been more unexpected. Sabrina Carpenter had just launched her Short and Sweet tour, with shows scheduled well into November. Fans were still soaking in her last era, replaying tracks, buying tickets, lining up for merch. So when she suddenly dropped news of a brand new album, Man's Best Friend, the internet did a collective double take. Why now? Was it a strategic move, a rushed release, or something more personal? For many, it felt too soon, like an emotional whiplash from one aesthetic to the next. But behind the shock was a deeper story of creativity, pressure, and an artist refusing to wait for the right moment to share her truth. In a deeply personal newsletter to fans, Sabrina revealed that the album wasn't originally part of the plan. It simply demanded to be made. When inspiration strikes, I go to the studio, and when it doesn't, I still go, she wrote. But this time, something was different. The songs came easily, almost effortlessly, in contrast to previous projects where she felt she had to crack codes just to move forward. She credited her creative flow to the influence of icons like Dolly Parton and Donna Summer, women who didn't wait for perfect timing, but instead followed their muse year after year. With Man's Best Friend, Sabrina is doing the same, ignoring industry expectations, trusting her instincts, and releasing music that felt too real, too urgent, and too raw to hold back. The outrage didn't simmer, it exploded. As soon as Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend cover hit the internet, accusations of betrayal and hypocrisy began flooding in. Critics didn't just call it controversial, they called it dangerous. One viral TikTok summed up the mood. How do you write empowering songs about men treating you like trash and then drop a cover that looks like this? Another viewer labeled it 1950s woman degradation, suggesting that the imagery resembled a time when women were expected to be submissive, obedient, and silent. Others didn't mince words, calling the cover gross, offensive, and anti-feminist. And it wasn't just isolated noise. The hashtag RageBait started trending, with many suggesting the entire release was engineered to provoke outrage and fuel controversy. For those who had seen Sabrina as a bold voice for modern femininity, the artwork felt like a slap in the face. The criticism cut deeper than surface-level aesthetics. It struck at the heart of Sabrina's image. Fans had come to admire her for confronting toxic behavior in past tracks, unafraid to call out manipulation, double standards, and emotional dishonesty. But now, the visual messaging seemed to some like a complete reversal of those values. To them, the cover wasn't just a stylistic risk. It was a signal that she was compromising her beliefs for shock value or viral buzz. The backlash revealed a deeper tension in pop culture. The razor-thin line women in the industry walk between expressing themselves freely and being accused of sending the wrong message. And as the debate escalated online, it raised an uncomfortable question. Was Sabrina flipping the narrative or fueling the very one she used to fight against? As backlash spread like wildfire, a powerful counter-narrative began to take shape, one that refused to let the conversation be defined by outrage alone. Defenders of Sabrina Carpenter's Man's Best Friend cover quickly pushed back, arguing that the critics had it all wrong. To them, the imagery wasn't degrading, it was deliberate. A satirical jab at how women are viewed and reduced in society, especially by the very types of men Sabrina has called out in her music time and again, and they had receipts. The lead single from the album is literally titled Manchild, a song that mocks toxic, emotionally stunted men. For supporters, this wasn't Sabrina giving in to misogyny. It was her confronting it with dark humor and unfiltered truth. The visuals, they claimed, weren't celebrating objectification. They were holding up a mirror to it. Fans pointed to her long-standing track record of sarcastic, sharp-edged lyrics that dismantle patriarchal norms. Sabrina has never been one to glamorize toxic relationships. She's dissected them line by line. To them, this cover was the visual equivalent of her most biting verses. They argued that by embracing the absurdity of how women are portrayed, posing like the stereotype, collar and all, she was flipping the power dynamic. It wasn't submission, it was strategy. "She's not endorsing this," one fan wrote. "She's exposing it." And for many, that distinction mattered. The cover became a Rorschach test. Critics saw weakness, but fans saw weaponized femininity. The image didn't just provoke controversy, it exposed the double standards women face when they choose to confront uncomfortable truths through their art. Just one day after the internet erupted over her album artwork, Sabrina Carpenter's Rolling Stone cover story dropped, and the timing couldn't have been more powerful. In the feature, she opened up with raw honesty about the double standards she faces, her sharp use of sarcasm, and how humor has long been her emotional armor. Sabrina revealed that sarcasm isn't just a personality quirk, it's a survival strategy. It's how she's managed to express uncomfortable truths without being labeled difficult or too much. She explained that women, especially in entertainment, are often expected to soften their edges, speak up but not too loudly, be confident but never intimidating. And that pressure has shaped how she communicates both on stage and off. But now, she's done diluting her voice just to be palatable. "When I didn't want to be nice just for the sake of pleasing people," she said, "sarcasm helped me be honest without being seen as rude." That quote hit hard with fans who followed her journey from teen pop star to outspoken, self-aware artist. It also reframed the controversy around her album cover. To many supporters, it confirmed what they already suspected, that the imagery wasn't literal, but deeply layered. It was meant to provoke, to reflect the absurdity of how women are perceived, and to hold up a mirror to society's contradictions. Sabrina's wit isn't just woven into her lyrics, it's embedded into her entire artistic identity. And in a moment where every pixel of her new era is being dissected, she's standing firm, using her sharpest tool to say exactly what she means, whether people are ready to hear it or not. While the internet dissected the visuals, Jack Antonoff, one of the most respected producers in pop, quietly offered a glimpse into the heart of Man's Best Friend. Antonoff, who worked closely with Sabrina Carpenter on several tracks including the scathing lead single Manchild, revealed that the album's vision snapped into place after just 3 songs. "That was the moment where I was like, oh my god, this is a whole new era," he told Rolling Stone. What followed, he explained, was some of the most emotionally honest music he's ever been a part of. The album doesn't tiptoe around pain. It embraces it, It's raw, filled with lyrical wounds and romantic wreckage. But instead of drowning in it, Sabrina chooses to celebrate what comes after. Survival, self-respect, and the kind of growth only disappointment can teach. Antonoff emphasized that this isn't an album that romanticizes men or heartbreak. It's a takedown, wrapped in glitter and grit. The songs are about reclaiming power after being let down, examining love not through rose-colored glasses, but through the lens of hard-earned wisdom. That perspective completely reframes the controversial album art. What many first viewed as submissive or provocative begins to look like intentional staging, symbolic of being dragged through emotional chaos, but still standing. With Antonoff's context, the cover doesn't contradict the music, it foreshadows it. It sets the tone for an album that dares to say, yes, I've been hurt, but I own the story now. And for fans who felt unsure about the visuals, this behind-the-scenes insight offers something deeper, a reason to listen, not just look. As the discourse around Man's Best Friend intensified, so did the conversation about Sabrina Carpenter's evolving image, specifically her use of sexuality in her art. In her Rolling Stone interview, Sabrina didn't shy away from the topic. She acknowledged the criticism, but flipped it back on the audience. It's funny when people complain, but they're the ones sharing those clips, those lyrics. Clearly you're obsessed with it. She pointed out a hard truth. Fans aren't just consuming the provocative moments, they're amplifying them. The viral quotes, the cheeky dance moves, the innuendos, those are the parts people replay, meme, and flood the comment sections with. But what gets lost in that frenzy is the rest of her artistry. The ballads, the raw emotional storytelling, the vulnerable moments that never trend in the same way. Sabrina went even deeper, admitting that the attention has created pressure to maintain that image, even when it doesn't reflect the full spectrum of who she is. But rather than push back or try to clean up her act for public approval, she's taken a more radical approach, turning that pressure into a creative statement. Man's Best Friend may be her boldest mirror yet, reflecting the audience's own obsession with sexualization back at them. By leaning into what people expect while embedding layers of irony and critique, she's reclaiming the narrative. It's not about shock value, it's about control. And in an industry where female artists are often reduced to caricatures, Sabrina is forcing fans to ask themselves, are they celebrating her or shaping her into something she never asked to be? The firestorm surrounding Man's Best Friend goes beyond one image. It cuts into a far deeper issue that female artists have wrestled with for decades. Why are women in music still dissected so aggressively for every creative choice they make? Whether it's a lyric, a costume, or a single frame of cover art, the scrutiny is relentless. Sabrina Carpenter anticipated this exact reaction. In her Rolling Stone interview, conducted before the cover was ever made public, she confessed that she felt women had never been more picked apart. And now, those words read like prophecy. As the discourse erupted, it became clear. This wasn't just about Sabrina. It was about the impossible standards women are held to when they dare to express themselves in ways that challenge comfort zones. Critics have called the imagery offensive, tone-deaf, and exploitative. Supporters, meanwhile, see it as subversive, bold, and brilliantly satirical. But perhaps the real power of this controversy is what it reveals. That Sabrina Carpenter knew exactly what she was doing. She didn't stumble into backlash, she leaned into it. And in doing so, she forced a cultural conversation about art, gender, and perception that can't be ignored. Whether people love the cover or loathe it, one fact remains: everyone is talking. And for an artist whose greatest weapon is her ability to say hard things with a smirk, this moment isn't just a win, it's a warning shot. She's not here to play it safe, she's here to make you think. This isn't just about Sabrina's album anymore. It's about the blurred line between empowerment and exploitation, between satire and sincerity. Man's Best Friend is challenging the public to think deeper about art, intention, and the weight of female expression. In a world where women are told to be confident but not too loud, sexy but not too bold, honest but not too harsh, Sabrina's cover throws all those expectations into a blender and serves them back with a wink. Maybe that's why it stings. Because it's not just a picture. It's a portrait of the pressure women face every day. And for Sabrina, it's not just an album. It's a message. One that says, if you're going to judge me anyway, I'll give you something to talk about.